Tequila! Every time I hear that song, it makes me think that when it's over. And I don't know why, because it's not even like the tequila song or even close to it. But, anyways, it is Tuesday, June 9th. It is 5:30 Central Time. It is time for the Women of FWA's live Q&A session. I have Robin here, and if you are not so blessed as to know Robin, she is not only a really good friend of mine, but she is also a wealth of knowledge. She is smart as a pickle, and I'm excited that you're here today, girl.
I'm excited to be here.
Especially since I texted you this morning and I was supposed to call you last week. Don't tell anybody I told you
It's
that.
okay, watch online. It's our secret.
Okay. I love that. So the name of this episode is Finances and More. What people don't know is that you owned an accounting firm for like a long time, that you have taught financial health in the fence industry for, I don't know, many years?
So really, probably 2 years that I focused on the fence industry itself, but I've been in the accounting industry for, God, I don't know, 30 years.
Yeah.
40 years maybe.
Your dad owned a fence company?
My dad owned a fence company when I was growing up, and then it was a wholesale fence company. I think he worked in the fence industry, in retail, and then he moved, and when he opened his own business, he opened up a wholesale fence company, and owned that for like 40 years. So, yeah.
And so Dusty, your husband, is now running the fence company, and you are the official CFO, taking care of the financial health and love of the business.
Yes, and honestly, so one of the girls that I hired to work for my accounting company when I had it, actually, as we were working, I had worked with her before at Mercy Ships, and so as we're going through all the clients and everything, I just kept thinking, gosh, she would be a really good fit for Blue Ribbon. And so Dusty ended up stealing her. I offered her up, and he took me up on it because she does an amazing job for our company. And so she is a degreed accountant, so she does a lot of the bookkeeping and stuff, and then I try to kind of help come in on the strategic side and that type of thing.
I love that. And how long have you been back at the fence company full time?
Just recently. So like it started officially June 1 was my official part-time or fractional CFO with the company that I was working for full-time, and so now I'm just doing their fractional work. And then I started back full-time with the fence company on June 1. And I think I was really always part of the fence company. I just didn't really have the time to do it the way it needed to be done. And so it was like pillow talk. We'd go to bed and we're recapping the whole day. So it wasn't, I wasn't really fully engaged before. Now I didn't have the time. So
I love that there. So how did you first get into accounting?
Oh my gosh. So when I was in high school, which was just a few years ago, I took a bookkeeping class. And so it was like, it looked like it would be interesting, and I took it and I loved it, and I did everybody else's homework. And so, because it was like, it just came easy for me. And so I think it was really from that point forward, when I looked for a job out of high school. I didn't go to college right away. I went into work for the Ortho company, and then I moved into their cost accounting department at some point. And then from there, I just kind of kept growing my little knowledge base and then I went to school and got my degree, my undergrad in accounting, and a master of an MBA.
Look at you, Mrs. Fancy Pants. So what made you sell the accounting firm? Did they make you an offer you couldn't refuse?
They did. I had a client. I had a client that offered me to be their full-time controller, and this is a great, I'm sorry, full-time CFO. And this is a great example of companies just not really knowing what they need, because really when I got there, they asked me what I needed before I came, and I said I need a full-time staff, senior staff accountant, bookkeeper, or controller in order for me to do the CFO work. And I said, but we don't have to do it right away. Let me get in there and see what type of person I would really want to bring in there. And so as we went along, because because I know how to do the operational accounting, I ended up doing it. And so I didn't have time for the strategic thing. So when I kept telling them, look, I don't have time to get to the CFO work because I'm doing all the operational accounting that has to be done. I said, you can have a controller without a CFO, but you can't have a CFO without a controller. So we had to work through some things. And I said, you really need a full-time controller. And you could probably get by with a part-time CFO. So that's kind of the decision that we came to because I did not want to be the controller. Plus, I was going to Dallas every other week. I was home a week and then Dallas a week. And that was really hard because then the burden, the really and truly the burden of the fence company was all on Dusty at that point. So, and that was a lot. So,
well, I'm sure he's glad to have you home, and I'm sure you're glad to be home.
Not just glad to be
for the love of the business, but for the love of each other.
Yes. So I don't know if I answered your question or not, but when I had the bookkeeping company, this company offered me that job, and it was hard to pass that up because I do love the people there, and I enjoyed what I was doing. But yeah. So now I'm back.
So now that you're back inside the business, how is it different from like consulting for a business?
It's so there's a lot of different dynamics because we're married, so that's there's the dynamic, and then just the defense industry is so different from a lot of the other clients that I had when I first started my accounting firm. So I think it's I like the defense industry. I really do. I like maybe because I grew up in it. I don't know. It just feels like home. And so it is a little bit different being involved in the day-to-day decision making and the employees. Because when I'm consulting for another company, I'm really not getting down to that level. It's really more of an overview of the company and their financial health and that type of thing. So being involved, so it's very different for Blue Ribbon because I'm in the weeds. I'm in the everyday operational needs and things like that of the business.
So he spent 10 extra cents on the good toilet paper without your permission?
He did.
Priorities is all I'm saying here.
Right. So yeah, like what? Because we tease each other because we get notifications on our phone every time somebody uses the debit card or whatever, and so I'm always checking with him, making sure. Like if we get like something on a debit card, like did the guys use the debit card? Just want to make sure it's not fraud or whatever. He's like, yeah. So then the other day I bought something on TikTok, I think, on my personal card, and he goes, "What'd you buy at TikTok?" And I'm like, you don't need to know that information.
I love that. I love it. Oh, how the tables have turned.
Yeah.
Speaking of purchases on TikTok, what's something that fence companies do financially that makes accountants immediately nervous?
Oh my gosh, so many things. I think one of the things that they do that makes me nervous is not the way they pay themselves. That's a huge one because if it's an LLC, you pay yourself one way. If it's like a single member LLC, if it's a S corp, then you pay yourself another way. And if you're a partnership, then that's a whole nother thing. And so there's a lot of guidelines on how you actually are required to pay yourself, if depending on what your entity type is. And so I see a lot of LLCs paying themselves as W-2 employees, and you're not supposed to do that. Or and then hopefully they have a good tax advisor. But a lot of times the tax advisor doesn't see the details of the payroll. They just see the payroll total number, so they don't know sometimes that they're paying themselves on a W-2 paycheck. And so, yeah, that's the first thing that makes me a little bit crazy with the different entity types, because I don't want them to get in trouble. I don't want them to do anything that's going to cause an audit or anything like that. And then I think probably the second biggest mistake that I see companies make is they don't understand their financials, and so they put their trust in someone else. And not all tax accountants are great. I mean, you get what you pay for. So if you go for that cheap tax preparer, then you're probably going to get just the down and dirty, quickest tax return that they can do. They're not checking your numbers. They're taking exactly what you gave them, and they're basically filling in the blank on something else. Now, there are some really good tax accountants out there who don't do that, but a lot of times people, especially in the fence industry, cash is so tight sometimes that you're looking for the best bargain you can get. And so I think that's a mistake that sometimes they make, is like looking for the bargain tax preparer. And really, unless you've got just a top-notch bookkeeper or accountant on staff, or somebody that's doing your bookkeeping that you have complete trust in, that they know the tax law. Like, I don't do taxes, but I know enough from working in public accounting about the tax law to know how to guide them and how to set up their books and their chart of accounts, and to teach them what they need to do and what's deductible, what's not deductible, those types of things. I'm enough to be dangerous on tax. But I think if you don't want to get in trouble in that area, and then not understanding your financial statements and how those work and what that means. I mean, people look at their net profit and they say, well, there's my net profit. Why don't I have that much cash? Not realizing that there's things reported on the balance sheet, certain things reported on the P&L, both of which may affect your cash. So you can't just look at your P&L and determine what your cash should be.
So what numbers should owners be looking at daily or even weekly? Like, which numbers specifically you think?
So I think if you're looking at numbers in daily and weekly, I think you need to, number one, have a really good cash flow report that captures everything, that tells you where you stand from a cash standpoint. And then you can go out as far as you want. With the one client that I have, we go out a full year on cash projections. Now, there are guesses when you start getting later on in the year, because you don't know. So you're just really forecasting. But those first initial 1 to 4 or 5 weeks, you should have a pretty good idea of what's coming in and out of the business, and you really need to know what your cash needs are and what you've got coming in, and is it enough to meet what's going out? Because if it's not, to break it up, make some sales. But yeah, I think that, and then just that, and knowing what I would say on a weekly basis, having a good software. And I know QuickBooks Online is popular, and that's the one I like it. I think it's a great tool for what you get for what you pay for. And you have the ability to do projects. And so you can, if you're coding everything correctly going in, then you can actually run a project report every time. Once all your expenses are in there, you can see, regardless of what month it falls in, were we profitable on that job. So I think if you can look at that and kind of know, even if you look at it before your job's finished, and okay, well, we haven't been invoiced for everything yet, so I know I gotta have another $5,000 coming in against that job. You can kind of look at it and know if you're profitable on that job. And then on a monthly basis, obviously you want to look at your P&L and your balance sheet.
Nice. So what a lot of people don't know, unless they watch the Trade Industry podcast and follow us on socials, Robin will be teaching a couple of full throttle sessions at the Fence Show and Security Expo this October. And if finances stress you out even a little, you should be in her class. Did that land like it did before?
Yeah, we can be stressed out together. Yes, we can all be stressed together.
So what can attendees expect from your session?
So I just went over with Veronica today some of the topics that we're going to be talking about. And I think one of them is understanding the balance sheet and the P&L, common mistakes that fence companies make. We're going to be talking about a 1099 employee versus a W-2 employee. And how to read your financial statements and understanding what they are. So
are these beginner-friendly courses?
So we're gonna. I'll tell you, when I do training, I always just try to meet people where they are. So if there's if there's people in there that are just I tell them right up front, if you don't understand the terminology, or if there's something, please ask, because that's what my husband tells me, that I don't talk in English sometimes, and so he's like, people don't understand what you're talking about, so I always tell them, please ask, because sometimes I'll just get carried away and start talking about the cost of goods sold or something, and people are like, I don't even know what you're talking about. Can you just back up and tell me what that is? So yeah, we're gonna meet people where they are. So if it can be as beginner or as advanced as we need to get. I
love hearing that. I love that if people attend any of your sessions and they don't know if they're ready for it or not, you will make sure that they are. And so that means that nobody's wasting a dollar by getting a full throttle pass, by attending your sessions. For someone who comes to your class and leaves, what's one thing you hope they immediately implement?
I hope they immediately implement keeping their books tight, keeping up with it on a day-to-day basis, making it a priority, because if you don't know your numbers, you are never going to know if you're growing, if you're losing, if you're staying still. You're not going to be able to gauge your business and how your performance is if you don't have a benchmark and you don't have something good, solid, reliable numbers to look at. It's all in the numbers. You got to know what your numbers are.
So for the one-man crew business owner, he does it all. How many hours a day can he put towards that, or what should he be putting towards that? Like actually sitting down, understanding his books, and let's say in this perfect world, they're already perfect. Mm-hmm. He's going into it every day for how long?
It depends on your business. I think it's going to be different for every person. I think that if you're very busy and you're trying to, I would say at least once a week, you need to be in your books and looking at them. At a minimum, you need to look at them every month. Once you've closed out everything and all your reconciliations are done and that type of thing. I always recommend, if you're going to start a fence company, make sure you have somebody that can do your bookkeeping, because it's hard to do. Number one, it's not something that most people don't go into the fence business so they can do bookkeeping, right? They go into it because they want to build fences and they want to make a living. Well, the only way you make a living is to be able to see how your performance is. If you're going to do better, or if you're going to, if you're slipping a little bit, you got to know where to tighten the belt. So I think that's one investment. Just like if you invest in a piece of equipment or a trailer or a truck, you need to invest in someone to take care of your books for you, because it is vital.
Well, that's all I have for our segment. However, I do have some rapid fire questions just because these are fun. So just the first thing that comes to your mind, paper spreadsheets or software?
Oh, software. Spreadsheets, Dusty does give me a hard time about the spreadsheets. I do like my spreadsheets, but you got to have software. Because usually you're taking it from your software to the spreadsheet. So I would say
there you
software.
Go. The hardest part of running a business?
The people, the employees.
No question there. Yeah, no question. I don't think anybody will argue with that. After you said it, they're like, yes.
It's got to be the employee.
What is the biggest money-wasting habit in business?
For our company, I can tell you one of the biggest money waste is they forget something when they go to a job site. It's too far to get back to the shop, so they just go buy another one.
I thought you were going to say Dusty's fancy toilet paper, but
well, there's that. Try not to call him out on that, but yeah, or his poncho shirts with the embroidering on them. That's not a waste. That's
I get you. What is one thing every owner should stop doing?
Something every owner should stop doing.
And it can be from a financial standpoint.
I would say every owner should stop skimping on your bookkeeping and tax prep. Because I hear it every day. Yeah.
What's your favorite thing about the fence industry?
The people. I love the people. I miss the people. When I kind of stepped back and went to work for that other company, I was just like, I felt like I missed part of my family.
Coffee while you're working on finances, or energy drink while you're working on finances?
I'm a coffee drinker, so I don't like the taste of most of the energy drinks, and so for me, it's coffee all the way.
Okay, because I'm over here thinking about us having a shot of Bailey's at the fence show and preparing for for whatever life's gonna bring us.
Yes, and Bailey's goes very great in coffee, so it's a nice combination. So yeah, there you go.
And no one will ever know.
No one will ever know. It's just coffee.
The last one I have for you is one business lesson you learned the hard way.
Oh boy. I think one business lesson that I learned the hard way was when I had my own business, and it is not valuing your own time. And I think owners of fence companies have the same problem because when they're when they're bidding jobs, they're factoring in what their labor, their labor costs and the material costs and all that, but they're not factoring in their time of going and doing the bid or training the guys or being a resource for the crew and they're out in the field and they can't figure something out. So their time has a value on it, and I think that's one of the hardest things as business owners that we do is we forget to put a value on our time.
I completely agree with that. So for everybody watching, this is Robin. She will be teaching 2 education sessions at the Fence Show and Security Expo. You will need a full throttle pass to get into those sessions. If you go to fenceshow.com, I believe it's still early bird pricing. Pricing will increase very soon. Outside of that, is there anything you'd like to say, Robin?
I'm looking forward to Vegas. I'm very excited to see everybody. I'll get to reconnect with a lot of people I haven't seen in a while. So I'm looking forward to it. Can't wait to see everybody.
Yes, me too. I'm very excited. I'm excited to see you. Thank you for joining us tonight. If you have an idea for an education topic for the Women of FWA Live Q&A sessions, drop a comment, shoot us a message, do whatever it is you do to contact us. Outside of that, talk to you later, homies.